Hey everyone, and welcome to another deep dive. Today, we're going to be tackling a career path that's got it all. Adventure, purpose, and let's be honest, who wouldn't want an office with a view that changes every day? We're talking about becoming an outdoor animator. And trust me, the research we dug up had some real surprises.
Oh, I'm ready for this. It's a field that truly captures the imagination, but as with any career, I'm sure there's a lot more to it than meets the eye.
You hit the nail on the head. We often romanticize working in the great outdoors, but what does an outdoor animator actually do? You ready to find out?
Absolutely. Let's unpack this.
So, you know how most people think this is just about leading hikes and teaching folks how to build a campfire? Well, get this. One of the resources, a platform called RoleCatcher, describes it as blending time between managing operations and directly interacting with participants in the field and inside activity centers. It's a much more dynamic mix than I initially pictured.
That's fascinating.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes sense, though, right? There's got to be a ton of logistics and planning that goes into creating those seamless outdoor experiences. It's not all just sunshine and trail mix.
Right. It's not just about knowing where the best trails are, but how to keep a group safe on those trails. And speaking of safety, that was another big takeaway from our research. It's absolutely paramount in this field.
And that's where the managing operations part becomes really crucial. We're talking risk assessments, emergency protocols, understanding things like weather patterns and potential hazards.
It's a huge responsibility.
Yeah.
And it made me wonder, what are some of the certifications or qualifications that demonstrate that commitment to safety and give you a competitive edge?
Well, you're not going to need a PhD to become an outdoor animator, but having certifications like first aid, CPR, and wilderness first responder are huge. They show potential employers that you've got the skills to handle emergencies, which can literally be a lifesaver in unpredictable outdoor settings.
And here's where it gets interesting. The research suggests building a portfolio that goes beyond your typical resume. Think photos of you leading groups, testimonials from past participants, anything that showcases your passion for the outdoors, and more importantly, your experience in action.
I love that idea. It's one thing to say you're a natural leader and passionate about the outdoors, but it's way more powerful to show it. It paints a picture of your experience that a resume bullet point just can't capture.
Exactly. But let's get real for a second. Even with the right qualifications, this field can be pretty competitive. So for someone who's determined to make a real career out of this, what are the typical steps on that career ladder?
You're right, it's not always an easy climb, but our research, particularly from RoleCatcher, actually laid out a pretty clear progression through 4 distinct stages.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Let's break down those stages. Where does someone typically start?
Well, most folks enter the field as an entry-level outdoor animator. It's like an apprenticeship where you're learning the ropes from more seasoned professionals. You'll be assisting with tasks like prepping equipment, setting up campsites, maybe even helping to facilitate team-building games or activities.
So you're gaining that hands-on experience, but also observing how more experienced animators manage groups, handle logistics, and deal with unexpected situations.
Exactly. It's about building a solid foundation and proving your dedication. Then, as you gain more confidence and experience, you might move into a junior outdoor animator role.
So what does that next step up look like? More responsibility.
Definitely. As a junior outdoor animator, you'll likely be entrusted with planning and leading certain activities independently. You might be designing a nature scavenger hunt for a school group one day, then teaching basic survival skills to a corporate team-building retreat the next.
Okay, so you're starting to really flex your creative and leadership muscles at that point. What about the next stage? When do you get to call yourself a full-fledged outdoor animator?
That's when things get really exciting. You've paid your dues, honed your skills, and now you're leading a wider range of activities with a deeper level of expertise. Think multi-day backpacking trips, whitewater rafting expeditions, maybe even specialized programs like wilderness survival courses.
Wow, that sounds incredible. You're not just guiding at that point. You're essentially running the show.
Right. You're also taking on more administrative tasks like managing equipment inventories, coordinating with vendors, and potentially even mentoring junior staff.
It sounds like you need to be incredibly organized and have a knack for multitasking to excel at that level. But there's one more stage, right? The peak of the outdoor animator mountain, so to speak?
Yes. The senior outdoor animator. This is where your leadership and expertise really shine. You're not just focused on individual activities anymore. You're developing long-term program strategies, overseeing all aspects of operations, managing budgets, and ensuring everything aligns with industry regulations and best practices.
Okay, so paint me a picture here. What's an example of a program strategy a senior outdoor animator might create?
Well, imagine a company specializing in adventure tourism wants to attract a younger demographic. A senior outdoor animator might propose developing a series of social media-savvy wilderness photography workshops, combining outdoor skills with a trendy hobby to expand their reach.
That's brilliant. It's about thinking beyond the immediate activity and considering the bigger picture of audience, trends, and long-term sustainability.
Precisely. And on the regulatory side, they might need to be up to date on permit requirements for different areas, safety standards for specific activities, and legal guidelines for working with groups like children or people with disabilities.
It's a lot to juggle. But for someone passionate about the outdoors and driven to share that passion with others, it sounds like an incredibly rewarding career path. But the outdoor industry is constantly evolving, right? New activities pop up, technology changes the game. How do you stay ahead of the curve throughout your career?
That's where the continuous learning part that's often mentioned in career guides becomes absolutely critical.
Right. You can't just rest on your laurels no matter how impressive they are.
Exactly. Participating in advanced training programs, attending workshops on new outdoor skills or equipment, even something as simple as staying informed about the latest sustainability practices. It all contributes to your growth and keeps you relevant in a competitive field.
It's like the old saying goes, the outdoors is your classroom. And speaking of resources, earlier we mentioned RoleCatcher. I have to admit, the more we talk about this career path, the more curious I am about how this platform actually works.
It's pretty impressive, actually. Remember how we talked about the importance of certifications and building a strong portfolio? Well, RoleCatcher helps you identify which qualifications are most valuable for specific outdoor animator positions.
So it takes the guesswork out of tailoring your application.
Exactly. It's like having a personalized career advisor in your pocket. You can input your skills and experience, and RoleCatcher will analyze job descriptions, highlighting the keywords and qualifications that pop up most frequently.
That's amazing. So you can see where your strengths align with employer demands and identify any potential gaps in your skill set.
You got it. It can even suggest relevant training programs or certifications to help you fill those gaps and boost your application. But here's the part I find especially helpful, particularly for anyone who gets nervous about interviews.
Okay, you've piqued my interest. What does RoleCatcher do on the interview front? I'm always terrified of that part of the job search.
It's like they've tapped into the minds of hiring managers. They have this massive library of interview questions specific to different careers, including, you guessed it, outdoor animator. You can practice answering these questions and, get this, some of their features even analyze your responses and give you feedback.
Wait, seriously, so it's like having a mock interview with expert feedback. But you don't have to awkwardly ask a friend to grill you with questions.
Exactly. And if you really want to level up, they have this AI-powered subscription called RoleCatcher Copilot that gives you personalized feedback on video practice sessions and helps you tailor your answers to the specific company and job you're applying for.
Wow, it sounds like RoleCatcher is a game changer for anyone serious about a career as an outdoor animator. Honestly, I might need to check it out for myself. But before we get totally sidetracked by my own career anxieties, I do have one final thought-provoking question for you. Our sources focused on those traditional outdoor activities like hiking and camping, things we usually picture when we think about the great outdoors, but technology is always changing the game. How do you think something like virtual reality might impact the world of an outdoor animator in the future?
Ooh, that's a great question. It's fascinating to think about how those lines are already starting to blur. Imagine, instead of just telling a group about the amazing biodiversity of a rainforest, you could take them on a VR hike through the Amazon, complete with the sounds of the jungle, and maybe even a curious monkey or two popping up in the virtual trees.
Right, and not just for the wow factor. Someone who might not be physically able to hike for miles could still experience the awe of nature. Or think about kids in inner cities. What if VR could give them a taste of the great outdoors and spark a passion for conservation?
Absolutely. It could make outdoor experiences more accessible to people who might face barriers, whether that's physical limitations, financial constraints, or even just fear of the unknown.
It could even be a game changer for safety training. Instead of just talking about what to do during a sudden storm, imagine a VR simulation where you have to put those skills into practice virtually before facing them in real life.
Now that you mention it, I can even picture it as a recruitment tool. Imagine companies using VR to give potential outdoor animators a realistic preview of the job. It could help attract a more diverse pool of talent and make sure people are truly prepared for the challenges and rewards of the field.
It's amazing to think about all the possibilities, and it seems like virtual reality, instead of replacing the role of an outdoor animator, could actually enhance it by creating even more immersive and engaging experiences for people.
Precisely. It's all about finding creative ways to use technology to deepen our connection to the natural world, not to disconnect from it.
Well said. And there you have it, folks, your deep dive into the dynamic world of becoming an outdoor animator. We've explored the day-to-day realities, the importance of safety, and continuous learning, the potential of technology to shape the field, and of course the power of platforms like RoleCatcher to guide your journey.
And the biggest takeaway, this isn't just a job, it's a passion. If you're energized by the outdoors, driven to share that passion with others, and ready to embrace a career path filled with both challenges and incredible rewards, this just might be the adventure you've been searching for.
Couldn't agree more. Now go forth and explore, and be sure to join us next time for another deep dive into a new and fascinating topic. Until then, keep those curiosity fires burning.